What's up, everyone? We've got people coming in. That is awesome. It's Webinar Wednesday. We've got a good one today, and we've got a special one today because those of you that have maybe joined us for multiple webinars, this isn't the typical backdrop that I have when I do my webinars. I'm not in studio today. I'll make the story quick, but I got to let you know that we might get an interruption here. 5-month-old at home, little baby Emerson is sick with COVID. My wife is a teacher and she's doing state testing today. So I've got Emerson sleeping away over here next to me. She's got her CompanyCam gear on in case she has to make an appearance on the webinar. But just want to let you guys know that if there is a fuss or something, don't be too concerned. That's what's going on. But we've got an awesome webinar today. Before we introduce our two guests, here, two things just to kind of orient yourself with Zoom. We've all been on Zoom, I'm sure, but we've got two places where you can join in today's conversation, both the chat feature and the Q&A feature. Go ahead and test the chat feature out right now. Let us know where you're joining us from. Maybe let us know one thing you're looking forward to hearing. Maybe let us know what line of work you're in. Reason I like to do this is I love to see, where everybody's joining from. We've got Edmonton, we've got Wisconsin, we've got all sorts of people. But you can see very quickly how stuff gets buried in the chat feature. If you have a question and you say, I want to make sure this gets answered, the chat feature is not your home. Don't go there. I'll try to catch it, but the Q&A feature makes it super easy for me to see the question, make sure it gets answered. Sometimes we'll answer them on the spot. Sometimes I'll type the answer. Sometimes I'll hold that question until the end. Just kind of depends on, how things are going. But we've got a nice, we're kind of coast to coast, North Carolina, California. We've got Texas to Canada. We got a lot of geography covered there. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Let me introduce you to our two guests. Adam Sand, Roofing Business Partner, RBP for short, and Brennan Leong with Capilli Construction. Adam, I'm going to kick it to you first. Tell us a little bit about RBP, and then that'll kind of dovetail into how we were joined by Brennan as well.
Yeah, so RBP is a consulting firm that focuses on helping roofing companies develop better systems and processes, and kind of specializes in building out custom CRMs and software solutions to help roofers make more money.
Perfect. And how does Brennan fit into this picture? Brennan,
Brennan is a star customer of ours. We met back, I was at a wedding way back when I did more Facebook ads and stuff. And I was at a wedding and I said, hey, if there's any roofers in Hawaii that want to hang out, I'd love to meet up. And he said, hey, my dad would like to take you to play golf. And I said, I suck at golf, but I'd like to come meet you guys. And I drove up to a humble little office in Wahiawa, Hawaii, where I now live. So I fell in love with this town and I fell in love with this company because they were great family atmosphere. And I met Brennan. Brennan is one of the brightest and hardest working individuals I've met. Few people in this world I find can keep up. And he matches me step for step, toe for toe every time. And he's built an amazing company from 6 million to knocking on the door of 9 figures, and and he's going to do it. And I'm really proud of him. Brennan can probably give himself a much more reserved introduction, but I want to make sure that he gets his accolades too. Brennan, this is where you talk.
Yeah, tell us all about your construction business, roofing business.
Yeah, so we're based out of Oahu, Hawaii. It's the main island of Hawaii. Been working with Adam for 5 years now. We do roofing, painting, solar. We're also general contractors, but we kind of focus on the services around roofing. We work with the government, private commercial, residential, basically all sectors of the market. But we use CompanyCam for every single one of them.
Well, we'll definitely dive into that, but I've got to echo, I literally am just meeting Brennan for the first time today, and I got to echo what Adam said about the guy. I mean, he's definitely hardworking. Didn't bat an eye. It's 11 o'clock here in Nebraska. It's what, 6 o'clock there. He was on with me 25 minutes ago, ready to run through test and prep and all that stuff. Didn't bat an eye when we asked him to join us for this. And so appreciate both of you guys jumping in with us. Let's maybe start at the highest level, because what we want to talk about today with both of you is how can you leverage CompanyCam and the features in your selling of jobs. And I kind of break it down into 3 different categories. You've got the, okay, hey, I'm going to go do an inspection. I'm going to try to sell a job here. We can use CompanyCam there. We've got the delivering a great experience piece that will hopefully drive referral business from that customer. And then we've got the back end marketing piece of, you know, hey, we've got CompanyCam here. We've got all these great photos. How can we leverage those? So let's maybe start on that front bucket of, I'm going to go inspect a job, or I'm going to go try to sell a job. Adam, what features come to mind for you on that initial, you know, phase of how do I sell more jobs leveraging this simple app that's on my phone?
Yeah, I think that what really got it for me was that in roofing sales, when you're talking to a homeowner, everybody who bought a roof would rather bought a boat. Even an 80-year-old grandma who would rather have, like, is scared of the water, would rather just give the boat to her kid. And so when you're doing this, you're really trying to help people create certainty around their decision. You just want them to make a decision. So my whole goal of CompanyCam is to take pictures in such a way that you can come down, show them to the homeowner, and get them to say, I never would have thought of that. And the more times you can get them to say, I never would have thought of that. I never would have thought of that. What's going to happen is they're going to abdicate their power to you as a salesperson, because they're going to say, I wasn't thinking of this. You brought this to the point where now I can see it. And using annotations and stuff like that, you're able to create an understanding in the customer so they feel confident and competent to buy. That's probably my favorite just feature that's kind of been part of the CompanyCam staple software since day one. And then, you know, from there, it's evolved quite a bit.
Absolutely. So, you know, when you work with clients, we'll stick to annotations first, and either you or Brendan can take this one. But when you work with your clients and you're talking about annotations, because like you said, it's probably, I'm going on 7 years with CompanyCam, and we could draw on photos when I started. So it's been around for a long time, that feature. What is it with annotations, or what do you tell your clients, like, or suggest that your clients do with annotations? How do they use them to get to that I never thought of that moment?
That's a really good question. And I think that the first things first, put edit mode on, right? Everybody comes into CompanyCam and has the normal default setting where they stand up at the peak of the roof and go in a circle and just take pictures carte blanche. I like to slow down, to speed up, and add a little bit of what HubSpot would call friction, right? And make the edit mode turn on. So you're forced to, like, answer why you took the picture, right? And I think that when you're looking at a property, you want to think about the stuff that you do as a service, or the things that you notice as a roofing expert that are going to make that the customer wouldn't naturally know. And it's like the simplest, easiest one is like what are you going to do with an air conditioner? You're going to, like, if you're going to put a board on it and put a tarp over it because nails could fall in there and get hit by the fan or break it, customers are going to go, I never would have thought that our air conditioner was vulnerable during a roof install. Like, they wouldn't think of that necessarily, right? And so little moments like that are what, like, make customers think. And then it's like, but then there's so many other, like, obviously the ability to draw on it comes with other things. Like, when I first met Brennan, you can tell this story of the church, and there was a mishap that happened. In my first week that we were there, this mistake happened, and this was now prevented perfectly forever, now until the end of time, because of what Brennan's process is in his job file playbook about making sure the area to be completed is highlighted. So Brennan, maybe you can explain that.
Yeah, so I think we use it to provide, like, clarity to the customer, to our crews, all the way through the process. So I think it just kind of helps because the inspector may not be the best at articulating, but photos are very universal across the board, from, the layman's homeowner who may not know what a roof looks like from that vantage point. We can kind of, I think, just it'll build collaboration. It builds collaboration. Yeah.
That's a good question, Brennan, because you are like for those who don't know Brennan, like Brennan has got like super deep in like private, commercial, federal, state, municipal, universities, Department of Education, like, and you're right. A lot of what I'm talking about is to the horde of roofers out there that are just dealing with Bob and Betty homeowner. But when you're looking at a building owner or a consultant or an engineer or a project manager who knows as much about this stuff as you, what is it that CompanyCam is doing for your commercial clients, Brennan? Because I would love to actually like pick your brain on that.
I think it allows us to maybe demonstrate competency the same way that we would with a homeowner. I think when we inspect a roof and another, say, contractor inspects roof, we're looking at the same thing. We may be thinking the same thing, but we have a great tool to articulate what we're seeing with CompanyCam using annotations and being able to provide more detail and reassurance to our customers.
I think one thing as well is that Capilli has a good relationship with an insurance company. And one of the problems in insurance is homeowners trying to like make the same claim multiple times for the same damage. And if you're building a relationship with an insurance company, which, I mean, let me know in the comments, because this is always a fiery issue for some of you guys. But if you're going to build a relationship with a potential source of a shitload of revenue, you want to make sure you're protecting the interests of that partner. And if that partner is frequently having homeowners say, "Oh, I had my shingles blow off in my front of my house," and then 2 years later they get their initial payout, they don't get the second check for replacing it, or they don't opt in to fix it, and they try and file a claim for the same damage multiple times, CompanyCam allows you to put a building record together, right? And that, of course, requires you to set up CompanyCam properly, because a lot of CRMs do it every time you create a new deal. It creates a new CompanyCam, so then you don't have like a system of record for the building. You have a system of record for the deal, which is a little bit of technical stuff. But if you can create a one single source of truth for everything that's ever happened on that building, then you can have everything you need for warranty, everything you need for a partner relationship with an insurance company, or even like what Brennan has with maintenance relationships with buildings. It's a full record of everything that's ever happened, so that you have like an NDL warranty. You can prove that you did the maintenance that's required. Because Brennan, isn't that right, that some of the warranties for some of the commercial products you sell require regular maintenance contracts?
Yeah, so it would be the owner's responsibility to maintain it, but we offer that as a service in addition to the replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All right.
I guess it allows for a chronological record of a project and a building's history.
Yeah. So if we were to piggyback on that feature, because I think leveraging annotations is for sure something that's underutilized with CompanyCam. Whether you're, an expert of CompanyCam, you're brand new to CompanyCam, never even used CompanyCam before, Adam or Brennan, how is it that I then would leverage getting that photo that's annotated to my client? Because that's a piece that I often hear from, contractors, that it's like, oh, I can only email 2 photos or this or that. What feature do you suggest your clients use, Adam, as far as like sharing of photos, in that sales process?
Well, Brennan, you got a really good process for this, right? Because you and I kind of worked on that together, but you've kind of seen it through.
Yeah, so we typically type up a report within CompanyCam. We'll go over details. This is for commercial clientele. We'll go over details, kind of give ballpark pricing in our assessment. For our residential quoting, it's built into our quoting tool that integrates with CompanyCam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's using Sumo Quote, so it's got the inspection images page. And the other thing is that using Marketing Hub in his HubSpot, he actually has like several follow-up emails that go out. And this is what I suggest everybody does. I mean, we did this way back in the Podio days. I remember beating CompanyCam with constant barrage of emails to make it so we could get the timeline link to be automatically created. because I felt that every customer should always get, as part of like their very initial email with the company, like, hey, here is your timeline link. We're going to have this timeline link be updated with photos. This will be your full record of all your photos. The other thing that I think is critical is that when you're doing these, like when you say getting into the hands of homeowners, I believe the timeline link is important, but I do want to express that whether you're doing virtual sales like Brennan, where you're never doing a kitchen table presentation, or you're still doing a kneecap to kneecap presentation that's followed up with, you should review the photos with the customer, but you need to sell more like a doctor, because like what happens is what you see on a photo, and this is more of a retail, residential, homeowner type experience, is that you don't see the same things that your customer sees. So if you went to a doctor and he was like, yep, look at this picture. See, you got a torn ACL. So what that means is we're going to have to do a surgery. You're going to have to go in there, cut you open, fix your ACL up and make it better, right? Or if you had a picture and it was like this, he goes, okay, see here. So do you see this little arrow that I drew, that ACL thing there, that's a ligament. So that torn, and you see how it's pulled up like right here. Well, that actually means that, we have to actually go in there with surgery, two tiny little incision points. We got to go in there and pull that back down, reattach it. Then you're gonna need 3 weeks of rehab and 3 weeks of rest, and you should be good to go. Well, which doctor are you going to pick, right? You're going to pick the one that made it so that you could understand the problem, right? Because nobody's going to buy a roof until they understand the necessity of needing a new roof. And they're not going to, if you go and say, see those exposed nail heads, and then swipe to the next picture, right? The customer's not going to see those exposed nail heads because they're hearing some words that they've never heard before. Cricket, saddle, dead valley, exposed nail head, blown through fasteners, whatever, right? Sealant strip, cracking, blistering, all these words that we used to sound smart. If we don't actually draw a circle and point an arrow to it, we might miss it. And then part of the job file closeout feature is also telling the install team what's been communicated as far as a fix. Like, it's not just a matter of saying that there's a satellite dish or taking a picture of it, but put on there, as part of your closeout process, putting on the CompanyCam photo, toss satellite or remove and replace satellite, something to make it so that the CompanyCam can kind of supplement a work order, because pictures say 1,000 words, and work orders, if they're 1,000 words long, no roofer's going to read them.
Absolutely. So one thing that with the timeline link that I love is, so Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm getting ready to go up on your roof. We're going to go ahead and do the roof inspection right now. Here's the link. I'm going to text it to you right now. A few things with that. Obviously, Brendan, maybe you're the anomaly here, but most roofers don't want the homeowner up there on the roof with them while they're doing the inspection. Okay. That's not something you want, but you can say, hey, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to take photos, and you're going to be able to see the photos, videos, notes that I'm taking as I'm taking them. I'm going to use annotations. I'm that homeowner that doesn't really know much. But if you paint the picture for me while you're up there, now, instead of you coming down and me saying, well, I didn't see anything when you were up there because you didn't share a timeline link with me, what are you going to try to sell me? Now, when you're coming down, I'm able to say, I see we have a problem. Brendan, what can we do to solve said problem? So I think those are great, ways to like kind of flip that script of communication with that one simple timeline link. And so really quick, really easy, say, hey, here's the link. Adam, in your experience, or Brennan, is that timeline link something you should continue to use throughout the process of the job? Or, because obviously you can turn it on, turn it off. Should you use it in the sales process and then turn it off, once you go to production?
We use it from start to finish. I mean, I think it's helpful for a customer to feel assured that the things that they've been sold, when it comes to production, they can see that it's a continuity from sales, production, all the way through. And our crews actually document on site the work that they've done so that we can perform our checks to make sure that everything has been done. I think it helps a lot.
Perfect. So that kind of is gonna, I don't want to jump to that second bucket, but that, remember that we just talked about Timeline Link, using Timeline Link to help sell. Brennan has his crews documenting jobs throughout, leaves that Timeline Link open so that homeowners are in the know as things are happening. They're able to be, apprised to that information. I promise you that's going to help in bucket 2 of getting referrals. We kind of brushed through it, but they're a great partner of ours. So Adam, I know you talked about Sumo Quote, but I think we can talk at the high level of CompanyCam's open API, and the ability to leverage our open API into integrations is a feature that we don't need to get into the weeds of, the API and all that stuff, but Sumo Quote is a great example. Leap is a great example. CompanyCam integrates with a ton of things. Maybe just talk high level, big picture of the value of, integrated systems so that you're able to push from one software to the other and without having to duplicate entry.
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing is, of course, whenever you start adding on a new tool, you start adding on the need to like, okay, I'm going to have to create another record in another system. So it's like you create your contact in your CRM, right? And you go Brennan Leong, and address is 43 Brown Street, and email is brennan@emails.com. But then now you go and create your CompanyCam, you got to create another one, right? And it's like, this should be an expectation at this point, is that you should be able to automatically create a new profile in whatever integrated services you have. Because one thing that people don't understand is that CompanyCam has made an enterprise-grade photo documentation tool for the construction industry, and it integrates with pretty much everything: HubSpot, Job Progress, Job Nimbus, whatever, right? Basically everything except one, roofing CRM. They have this really great integration, so you can be able to create it. But I really want to make sure that like the people's tangible questions get answered, because Steve had mentioned in the comments that you would like to see a tangible example of a job, right? That's well annotated. It sucks because it's hard to pull up an exact job, and right now I don't have that job to pull up. But if you go into the CompanyCam app on your computer and you go and look up checklists, you can see like RBP, we have put some checklists up there. There's other companies that have put some checklists up there. Anything that's a checklist on ours is something that should be annotated, right? And so anything that you would normally point a customer to, you should annotate with an arrow or a circle or a box or a line. So the other thing to use that is a new feature in HubSpot that can help customers even more than annotation is the new walk around feature. I recorded about 2,000 videos back when I owned a roofing company on the roof. And my whole thing was treating my phone like the back of my customer's head. Like imagine if I grabbed the back of my customer's head and this is their eyes. I would literally talk to them, and then I would point at stuff on the roof. And I'd be like, this is an exposed nail head. And I recorded like 2,000 of these videos. It was just something I took from the car industry, which was that anytime someone inquired about a car, I ran out to the car, pulled it out, and then like did a walk around video of the car so that I would be likely to get the appointment. Same thing goes when you're on the roof trying to create bring the customer into that experience. Well, now CompanyCam has this walk around feature that doesn't require you to do this with their head, because it's got both your face and the back camera recording at the same time. So you can emote to your customer, build that emotional connection with the customer by talking to the camera, but then also be pointing at the stuff that's on the roof. And now you can smile, you can laugh, you can be like, this is a really big problem. And you can emote on your face, and you can not just point out a problem, but you can also, create an added experience and service to your customer. So just think about it. If you were to bring up a brand new employee up on the roof and you're teaching them how to inspect a roof to set yourself up for sales, use the walk around feature and then just literally walk around the roof with the recorder on, pointing at all the stuff. This is the damage. This is a vent. This is inadequate. I don't like the valley style that was installed here. You need a cricket behind this. You need a saddle behind this. Anything that you would normally try and tell a new employee to watch for, is the kind of stuff you want to bring the customer into, because it's all about empowering the customer to make a decision right then and there. You just want to help the customer make a decision faster, and your closing rate will go up by accident. Having it be able to integrate with CompanyCam or anything like that is great, but I would love to get more questions that we can answer and that we can kind of demonstrate, or that we can kind of help you guys to win with this tool, because it'll elevate the industry and make customers make better decisions when hiring roofers, because they'll begin to expect this as a standard.
Absolutely. So walkthrough video, great tool. Couple of questions as we're kind of going through that. Where's the timeline link at in CompanyCam? If you go into a project and you click in the upper right corner, you're going to see the share project timeline. You can do it from right there. That's about as easy of a way as possible. So Jay, that should answer your question if you're on the app. If you don't have the app yet and you're like, man, I just want to see CompanyCam in action, a couple things. One, we do have classes that we run multiple times a month, but we also have a top-notch sales team that would be more than happy to jump on a one-on-one demo with you and actually, test drive you through all of these different features. Steve, great question. New to CompanyCam. I don't know where you're at in your process of being new to CompanyCam. If you're already using it, you would have a customer success manager that would be more than happy to actually get on a Zoom call with you and show you feature by feature. All this stuff. Trial period, hit up your sales rep. They're in your email, I promise. And just say, hey, Michael said that I should get on a demo with you, and Steve, they'll take you through a Zoom demo, 15 minutes or so, but they'll really gear that specifically to your company. I saw a question about the, video walkthrough. That's just right there from the camera screen that you can get.
Yeah, I'm trying to download the plugin to show people on the screen, but it's literally right there at the bottom where it says walkthrough. And then you can see that it has the little camera here for your head, and then that. And so all you have to do is look on the bottom where it says photo, right? And then video, and then walkthrough. There's a plugin that I can download to share my iPhone screen. But the other thing is that when you're in there, getting on your settings and turning this edit mode button on, because that's what's going to slow your sales reps down and force them to take annotations. Because if they don't have that edit mode on, what they're doing is they're just going through and they're snapping pictures like this. They're just going snap, 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 snap. And then you're not putting them in a position to annotate the photos. But if you have your edit mode on, what you're going to do is now, whenever they go take a photo, it's going to force them. They take the photo, and then now before they can proceed, they have to go through and put an arrow somewhere on the screen or define what it is that they're pointing at, so that you can actually create a better experience for the customer. And it also sets better expectations with the customer and the installers, right? Like, Brennan, I'm sure you can come up with 1,000 examples. Like, give us a couple of examples of how CompanyCam has allowed you to improve, like to reduce the mistakes or stuff that's happened on site. Like, I can think of that term bar that you guys are dealing with, you and Braden, that metal roof, that Great American Shake one. Like I've witnessed it myself.
Yeah, so I think for section repairs or replacements, it provides better clarity to our crews. What areas are to be worked on, what areas are excluded, stuff like that, ahead of the job starting. But it also provides us clear documentation of the installation process, which provides a lot of reassurance and leads to, I think, happier customers and more sales eventually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, Adam, with video walkthrough, it dawned on me that it is a premium feature. So I'm going to I dropped my email in the chat once. I just dropped it in there again. I'm not here to try to upsell you a bill of goods or anything. Obviously, it's a great feature. Adam loves it. Brennan's using it. shoot me an email if you're not currently using premium, if you don't have access to video walkthrough, and I will probably get in trouble for this, but I'll make sure I get you at least a 30-day trial of premium at no extra cost. So you can jump in there and actually use video walkthrough, see all the other amazing features in premium, because we've got a lot of features in there. It's not just video walkthrough. But shoot me an email and I will take all the blame on that one, but I'll make sure I get you some free time in there using that feature. So that could be why some people weren't able to see it from the camera screen. As we're kind of, going through this, we've had a lot of great questions, most of which I've kind of, been typing out answers.
I see one about the showcases. Can
Yeah,
I
I was gonna
address?
say, yeah, showcases was one that I saw that we haven't talked through yet.
Yeah, showcases is something that I think more of you could start using. It's like, I remember a few years back, Luke reached out and he said, I have this idea, like, how could we make it so we can make it so that your geotagged photos, right? Geotagged meaning that geographically there's this like metadata, basically buried in behind your photo. There's this data that says where this photo was taken, right? And he's like, it would be really cool if we could somehow put CompanyCam photos automatically on people's websites, because it would kind of get picked up by Google's SEO features. How can we do that? And he kind of came up with this idea, and it took a while, but then they came out with it, and it's called showcases. And so you can put this little bit of code in your website, and now put the showcase on your actually company website, so that you can select a project and select the photos. So you can choose to not put the picture of the roofer that's not wearing his fall protection. Okay. You can choose to not put that picture there. All right. But you can pick like 10 before photos, 10 in progress photos, and 10 after photos. And you can put those in a showcase, and you can like say, this is the product coming off, this is the product coming on. It'll auto suggest a title that'll be like Cedar conversion to GAF Timberline HDZ. And then you could say like in Windermere or in Mossy Oaks or whatever town or rural area or whatever like geo area you want to do. But then those photos that get put in that showcase are geologically tagged, right? Now I would love for a feature request to be able to like brand the showcases thing a little bit more, because it sometimes feels out of place on a website. So you have to kind of find the right spot on your page, but it allows homeowners to kind of see all the different stuff that you've done, and you can pick individual projects to do. And part of your closeout feature, right, or your closeout process should be like to ask yourself, should this be a showcase? And then post it on your page where people can see, because you can use this for demonstrating colors, demonstrating competency, looking busy. It shows people that you're in their neighborhood. There's so much power behind it. And I just find that like a lot of like half the reason that my company exists, I feel, is like to show people the features and the shit that they're already paying for that they're just not using. Like, I don't know how many times I was just out of this business that I'm at right now in Missouri. They're like, yeah, we don't use the Sumo Quote material order and purchase order because it's too wordy. I was like, oh, you can flick this little switch that says just use the title names instead of the descriptions. Oh, that's cool. They've been doing some broken arduous process for like 6 months. You know what I mean? And it's because they looked at that button, they go, well, I don't know what that does, so I'm not going to touch it. It probably blows up the office. You know what I mean? Like get in there and try some shit out. You know what I mean? And like play with it. Is my best advice for business owners who are using this stuff, is like, get on the call with like sales and support, and like, what do we do? Right? You don't all have to be, geniuses, to figure this stuff out.
Yeah. All great points. Let's see, there was a couple questions in there. As
Brennan,
far as
what do you wish more sales guys did in CompanyCam? Like, what, like if you could speak to the sales guys right now, what do you wish they did more of? Because there's probably some other owners in this room that probably would love the vulnerability of knowing that even you are not perfect and that you would love to see something better.
Well, I think utilizing annotations is like the biggest thing, and using it as a presentation tool more. It's sometimes not as effective to share the timeline link with 200 photos in it and expect the customer to look through that and know what they're looking at. But bringing things forward, like the report, with a little description next to it and walking them through it, I think is helpful to build you as a thought leader and the person that's going to help them with the roof, as opposed to the competition who maybe doesn't have CompanyCam or just sent them the timeline link. So I would say
What
utilizing.
strategies? Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to say, what strategies do you have in place to make it so that's happening more?
I mean, it's just built into our process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's up to the user to adhere to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what else do we have for questions? Haven't found descriptions yet. What else we got? Nobody. You ask people to ask questions in the Q&A and they don't listen. You guys aren't ready for CompanyCam. You guys can't use a Q&A feature in Zoom, but no problem. We'll scroll and search for.
I'm searching
search
it.
for the question.
Let's
I
dive
can
into
answer all of your life's ails.
let's dive into checklist a little bit. It's a unique, in my opinion, it would be it's more of a production feature. But in my opinion, as a business owner, Brennan, you were talking about, built into the process, and anything you can do or any piece of technology that you can do to leverage the technology in a way that kind of does the process for your, people out in the field. And that's a big one, is like, hey, we're going to go do this inspection. Obviously, Brennan, you can't be on every inspection. How can we leverage checklists to make sure that, our sales guys are getting the right pieces of information so that we're able to sell or we're able to upsell, those kind of things?
Yeah, so we use checklists as like a training tool and kind of like training wheels for our inspectors. The person inspecting the roof is not the same person selling the roof, and they're not the same person estimating the roof. They are solely tasked to inspect. And that's a model that we've switched to, the inside-outside sales model last year. But what it allows for is a consistent inspection process. And we can tailor it to the type of roof. So we could have, say, a flat roof inspection checklist, a metal roofing checklist, a residential home checklist. And that way we can make sure that no data points are missed and we're needing to send someone back out. That's a waste of time. It slows down the estimate, costs money. So utilizing that checklist as a training wheel, I think, is really helpful in creating more homogeneous results amongst multiple inspectors. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Aunt Brennan's answer there, and I see it being used in full force. You can use the CompanyCam checklist for sales, in that, yeah, you can force or at least encourage proper documentation. I think that the one that I have in mind, under like the RBP checklists, there's one there. I believe that it's better to do the ground inspection before getting on the roof. This was a debate I had with this company that I was at. They were like, well, why would we waste our time going around doing the ground photos before getting on the roof and seeing if there's damage? And my belief is that if you just follow the process, like if I took a 19-year-old kid and I said, hey, I need you to take 39 photos. I need to train you on these 3 products. I need you to answer these 6 questions. And I'm going to get someone to help you do follow-up and teach you how to do all this. I'm going to pay $100,000 a year. Will you do it? Every 19-year-old would say yes. So just follow the damn process, for one. But the other thing is that if you take your pictures on the ground and you follow your ground checklist, one, the customer is going to see that you have a process in place for documenting existing site damages. You have a care and attention to their property and preserving it the way that it is. Whether the barbecue is there, how you're going to handle the barbecue or the air conditioning unit. If there's a dog on site, documenting that there is a dog and keep the gate closed. My roofing company, we chased a dog for 3 hours because some roofer didn't leave the gate closed. And then the dog ran out the back door when the little kid went in the back patio And then the dog got out, and then we spent 3 hours chasing the dog, so now I put a picture, it says dog fence, or I say like there's a dog on site, keep fence closed at all times, and I make sure that's in the instructions to the crew in the company cam pictures so they know. And the customer goes, oh wow, you care about Fifi. You know what I mean? If I run into the dog, I want to take a picture of the dog, so they're using a little Easter egg inside there. But then what happens is that you allow us to build rapport with the customer as you're walking around the site, and you can do it through the lens of CompanyCam, explaining the benefits of this software and how it's going to allow you to better serve them as a customer. Then you get up on the roof. But if you do the pictures on the roof and then you come down, the customers go, oh, tell me about this and that and the other thing. Let's talk and damage and insurance and how much and all this kind of stuff. And then you're not going to get that experience of walking around the ground, because you're going to get thrust into the sales environment. Now, I'm sure there's 20 arguments to it, but that's what you can do with your CompanyCam checklist, is you can create a process that you can force people to adhere to, because it's take your ground photos, left corner, left back corner, back, right back corner, right side, windows, window wells, landscaping, and then set up ladder, take picture of ladder, take picture of gutter with the gutter color swatch, get on roof, picture, then go downstairs. And the last picture, here's the easy trick. Last picture is a picture of the front of the house, because the first picture in Sumo Quote to show up is the last picture in CompanyCam. And so that way you don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom to get your front cover picture for Sumo Quote. But I digress. But I see there's a ton of questions coming in now for CompanyCam. So
you asked for it, Adam. We got them.
Hey, we got to beat people into following the process, but they will.
I've been answering a few of them live with just typing out answers. Couple things just to that point, Adam. As a homeowner, there's little ways that you can leverage CompanyCam as well in your sales process. And like you said, getting those ground photos is huge. Picture that back bedroom that's got a ripped screen, or maybe a little piece of broken siding or things like that, or little damage on the gutter. I've got a gutter that was driven over by a power wheel probably 40 times and it's kind of flat. I could change it. I just never got around to changing it. Imagine if you're that roofer, and instead of like potentially getting blamed for that after the fact because you didn't have a photo of it, leverage that in your sales process and say,
dude,
hey,
Hawaii, I'm telling you, okay, this is something that none of y'all know about Hawaii. Everybody here picture Hawaii in your head. Doesn't it make you smile? Well, it doesn't. For anybody who lives there, the most unhappy people live in Hawaii. I was absolutely blown away at the amount of heat. It's like everybody's pissed off in Hawaii. Like I remember the first year, I was like, is it always like this? And he's like, well, how much heat do you get? Like, do you see on the mainland and stuff like that? Like, Brennan, I don't know what it is, bro, but like, yeah, we dealt with that so much. And like Brennan has saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in stuff, because they will 100% have a rusty old handrail and they'll blame the shingle that you dropped 4 minutes ago on the reason it's broken and rusted.
Yeah. Well, and my thought is, like, as a homeowner, there's a good chance, like, sometimes they might not know that it was already damaged. I think a lot of times they probably do. But if you're like, hey, I noticed you have a screen back here that's got a little tear in it. If you go ahead and have us do your roof, that'll be no problem for me to have one of my guys throw a replacement screen on there for you. So something that they're like, oh, just a hassle. I don't want to do it. Or, the downspout that I have that's been driven over by a power wheel, like, just more of a hassle than anything. Like, leverage that. It's like, hey, you're not going to blame me. Here's all the documentation of like what's broken on your property right now, but we'll actually fix these two things while we're, doing your roof. Like, there's value in that. And that just sets a good tone for that entire sales process into the production piece. We've got lots of questions here. Here's one that's come up a couple times. Do you implement your proposals quotes with CompanyCam photos, or do you like to separate them out?
Brennan, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, so we actually use SumoQuote, and it integrates right in, and we like to bring forward like the most important photos that I guess if there are like a few, like handful of photos that we for sure want the customer to see, those go in the SumoQuote. Everything else goes annotated in the CompanyCam link that's shared alongside the quote. So yeah, we do integrate the two.
Yeah, I would kind of say that agree with the same thing. Integrate your photos into the proposal so that you can bring the key points. One thing that comes up is single leg versus double leg appointments, right? You might blast through the 200 company cam photos that were taken, and you might hope that the homeowner understood it, and you might hope that your salesman has annotated the photos and you've got really good training to do that. But by taking the 4 or 5 most important things, putting them in the proposal, and then having a short little description, like in Sumo Quote, you can have even these quick texts that for stuff that's repeatable. But then that way, the 5 most important things, you are for sure, dad is going to be able to explain it to mom, or mom's going to be explained to dad, or property manager is going to be able to explain it to building owner, and vice versa, right? Is making it so that the 5 most important or 10 most important photos make it to the end decision maker or the co-decision maker? That's a really good question.
There's another great one here.
Another person said, I see there's another one person here, is how salespeople you position communicate the value of the company cam to customers. What words would they use to show how awesome your company is in a way that homeowners care about? What words would they use to show how awesome your company is in a way that homeowners care about? I'm stumped. How salespeople you position / communicate the value of company cam. I think that to try and say that like we use it like a visual work order, that would be like something that I've used in the past. It's a visual work order. And part of our, hey, Mr. Customer, not only do we get to keep this and you get to see these photos, but my crews actually have access to this. So when they come out here, see how I hit homes near me and your house just showed up? Well, they're going to do the same thing on install day, and our site supervisor or our foreman, like whatever your process is, our foreman is going to open that up. And then part of our process is that once you and I decide on the right solution, whether it's repair or replacement, we're going to go into these photos and we're going to write on the photos certain key install details. Like, what do you want to do with the satellite dish? Is that keeping that? Okay, that's toss. See, so I'm going to write toss on here. This becomes like a visual work order so that when they show up, they don't miss any of these important things. And so it's like my way of making sure that what you and I discuss about and promise is actually what gets done on your roof. And like, so that would be how I'm trying to show how awesome our company's process is, by doing something the homeowner cares about, which is protection of their property, that what they ask for gets done, and that we kind of use that to communicate the value of company cam. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, one thing that kind of came to mind for me as well is like, using some of the features that you're not using in the front end of it, but like maybe you have a 10-point cleanup checklist that your crews do on every single job. I think that's a super valuable thing, Catherine, to be able to say, hey, and when you decide to go with us, Catherine, not only are you going to be able to rest assured that what we're putting above, is going to be done correctly to code, all these things, but we also have this 10-point or 12-point or whatever inspection that we're going to do afterwards. And we want to make sure that, one or both legs of the household are able to do that inspection with us so that, we leave and you're not worrying about these things. We've, made sure everything's good, that kind of thing. I think that's a big one. Aaron made a point about getting accused of cracking siding where nails in the corners where all the nails were, and it was misinstalled. I think just leveraging company cam and the annotations and those things as a way to educate your homeowners, because again, like I said, I'm 7 years into this by proxy. I'm in software that works with contractors, but I still don't know everything that there is to know. And I think a lot of time homeowners just want to be educated as to the process, and I think you can use that as well. What other questions do we have here? I'll make sure, I know Christian's in the back end of this, but I'll make sure we get all these questions.
One thing is like the showcase feature being embedded, is it searchable? Like that was my understanding, was that those photos were geotagged. So I don't know if we cracked that code.
I don't, I'm going to have to get, who asked that question? Jay?
Jay Dargert, and I think someone else.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. I will make sure that we get that. We're going to send an email out with the recording of this. I'll make sure we get an answer on that.
Daniel also had a good question. In that he was asking if we need permission to share the property. I don't believe we share the address. So it's like I don't believe you need to ask for permission to really do that. I mean, you're sharing pictures of the house. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen anybody get in trouble over it. I would say if you're in California, maybe just because they're like that out there. But other than that,
I mean, yeah, I would say Daniel too. The other thing about that is, maybe leverage that into getting that job seen by more eyes, like if it's something like, we're not here to obviously give legal advice, but if it's something where you're like kind of concerned or think you should, I think you could set it up in a way of like, if Adam was my client, like, Adam, your house turned out stunningly well. You have a beautiful house. We have this feature on our website called Showcases. I would love if we could, include your property in that. This is what it's going to be. Once we get it live, I'll actually share it to you so you can, show all your friends and stuff, that kind of thing. Like, you might be able to get some legs out of it as well. But I know Google's never asked me if they can put my home on Google Earth and you can see my house from there. So again, not legal advice, but I think you probably are okay. Where
Josh Laka, I'm confused on that question. I guess it would be better to ask, how can I best automate the timeline process to not rely on sales to change things? If he's talking about automating sending the timeline link, you would use like Zapier, and you would say that like anytime a CompanyCam is created, copy the timeline link, which is part of the JSON like part of the thing that comes out of Zapier. It's one of the fields that you can pick. So you would say, put this in a property somewhere inside my CRM, like custom field 1, you know what I mean? Or CompanyCam timeline link. Like you can name, you most CRMs allow for some kind of custom property or field. And so you would say, when a CompanyCam is created, go find the customer back in CompanyCam, put this link in there. And your CRM might have this already built in. Then you, on deal creation or on appointment set or on quote given or some deal stage in your system, you want to say, create a marketing email when the deal hits X stage. And in that marketing email, put this value that's in this custom property wherever and send. So, hi, Mr. Customer, we're going to be on your house and here's going to be pictures. Click on this link, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't know how to do that, well, then talk to the people that you pay to do software stuff. And if you don't have one of those people, well, that's why the hell I'm here. So call me. But, but yeah, you're going to want to have some kind of technical expert help you get that set up, if that was your question.
He said in chat he would like the project to move from sold to started to completed.
Well, it's not a CRM. I don't even know really why you need that feature in CompanyCam. It's just it's the photo record. I think that's for like smaller guys. They try and use CompanyCam as a CRM. That's probably why the one person was asking to integrate it with QuickBooks, because the CompanyCam is not a CRM, guys. Elevate a little bit. Yeah.
Teresa asked about signatures. We could dive into signatures a little bit, Teresa. So signatures are very, very new to CompanyCam. In the tech world, generally stuff's a little easier to build out from the web-based first, but signatures on mobile are currently in production right now. So that's coming. I don't have an ETA as to when that will go live, but that will be in the mobile app in the foreseeable future. So be looking for that. I don't know, Adam, if you've messed around with signatures much, because like I said, they're brand spanking new. If you have, where would you maybe see them being used in the processes?
Say that one more time, the beginning part.
Yeah, so signatures are brand new, so I hate to put you on the spot if you haven't really messed around with them much, but if you have used signatures, where are people using those that you've been working with?
I haven't used it much because I'm worried about the feature overlap between like a document getting signed in Sumo Quote and a document getting signed in CompanyCam. So I haven't used it. I haven't used it at all yet.
Yep, and that's honestly
answer Josh's.
Yeah, go
Josh's
ahead.
question said, CRM is HubSpot and that integration is crap as well. So Captain Positivity over here. But anyways, so yes, I've seen the CompanyCam integration. I did look at it. So yes, it creates a new CompanyCam from a contact or a deal, and it doesn't really bring the property back anywhere. I think I could make a better one. I'll probably work on that after May 12th when I go back to the office and get out of the field. Because yeah, everything that I described, Josh, you could do in Zapier in 2017. So, because that's when I was sitting in Brennan's office when Luke and Jeff, who worked at CompanyCam, finally agreed to let me have that feature, which is a timeline link would get created automatically every time and be in the package of what comes out in Zapier. So everything I described currently you can do with Zapier, where on deal creation, create a CompanyCam, put the link into a custom property in your HubSpot, like create a custom property called CompanyCam link, public and private, put those links in there and you can share those out with marketing emails from Marketing Hub. If you don't know how to use it, reach out to me. It'd take me 10 minutes to show you. So I promise I can help you with that problem and it won't take more than 10 minutes. Gosh, Josh, I book a call with me, man. I'll make you a happier person at the very least. Those interested in good CRM, try Drip Jobs, CompanyCam's integrated, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sales, awesome. Make signatures more work on mobile. When you do that, can you put sign in person? Okay, not a bad feature update. Okay, I don't know if there's anything else. Brennan, you got anything cool you can show people?
Not that I can really think of.
All right. Well, I'm going to put you guys both on the spot as we kind of sign off here because people have 60 minutes in their head and we will definitely lose a lot of attendance here at the top of the hour. I know you've mentioned annotations, so that's your go-to. But if you were to say one thing we haven't talked about in CompanyCam, can be anything that, making sure is a part of your process, leveraging to make more sales, whatever it is, what's that one feature that we haven't really talked about yet today? And then Adam, obviously you are a wealth of knowledge and there's lots of questions. I will work with our marketing team and see if we can't figure out a way to get Ask Adam on again at some point in time because this has been great. Yes, we got your website and your email address in there, but what's that one feature or a way to use a feature that you think people should be using, just to kind of sign us off here, or your biggest win with CompanyCam for you, Brennan?
I think creating a project and using it as a storage, as like kind of like a resource for reference is something that I've seen our users CompanyCam kind of evolve over the years. Like they have like their notes in there, they have like other things. Like our estimators will put helpful like drawings and resources, and it's not only for, I guess, our customers' use, but they'll also use it on hand because they're in CompanyCam all day and they'll have another project file for like internal resources.
Absolutely. I love it. Real quick, create the tag of training or education. I think every company should use that. If you have weekly or monthly stand-ups, anytime a project manager or whoever's out in the field and sees something done correctly or incorrectly, get a photo of it, tag it training or education or whatever you want to do. So that way you can filter this huge repository of photos down to a small set of photos. And then on Monday morning, when we're all together, we can say, hey, we got some training photos. Here they are.
That's an absolutely awesome feature. And I've seen how Brennan has like the success story of his company can't be understated. Like the revenue per capita number that he's able to pull off by using systems is incredible, right? Like numbers that I haven't seen anywhere else. And I've been to 38 states in 14 months and I've worked in like 12 roofing companies in the last year for at least, a couple of weeks. And what he's done is incredible, but it's really the ability to communicate information back and forth so well with systems. Anybody who's not doing that 5 years from now will not be around. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be one of the major determining factors in a company's success going forward. Some things that I would love to see is more functionality around tagging photos, being able to do certain things based on tags. And another like new feature request that I don't even know if it's worth your time to do, but with that walk around feature, being able to pull those videos out and put them out to social, because one of the biggest challenges with getting roofers and roofing companies in general getting good social media content out there that's valuable for homeowners is, one, you have to get guys comfortable in camera. The only way to make good videos is to make 100 bad ones, right? And then you get better at it. And if you have the low fear and low barrier through the walk around feature to like just get you making one-to-one videos, like one me to homeowner type videos, eventually you're going to get better. And then how nice would it be if you could take your little 90-second video explaining some problems you saw on the roof and easily share that to the company Facebook page. And if there was a way to do it like privacy centric and like all that kind of stuff, but being able to create a behind the scenes Instagram story type feed from the day in the life of the roofing expert, I think could be a really good social media leverage for the CompanyCam tool. But again, I don't know if that's something that you guys would even consider.
I think you could, I mean, even just with the current functionality, it wouldn't be as easy, but you could, that's a cool idea of just like a day in the life, getting that content, create content. Obviously you're taking photos, leverage those photos. Again, if we were to break this down into 3 buckets, it's I'm selling in person a single job, I'm delivering a great production experience for the homeowner to hopefully drive referrals. And then after the fact, I'm using CompanyCam in ways that will hopefully work in my marketing. We didn't get to before and afters. Before and afters are huge. I will get with Christian before who's going to be working on the blog before we do that. And we'll add some even little nuggets that even if you joined us live, there's going to be some blog nuggets in that blog that we did talk about. So
yeah, I would definitely read the blog that comes after this, because if Christian's doing what I understand he's doing, he's going to make it so that like the stuff that we talked about in this, you're going to be able to go find out how to do it. And so it's not just like you're going to walk away with a blogified to-do list of how to kick ass in 2023 with CompanyCam. So pay attention, stay tuned for this blog. I think it'll be awesome.
Awesome. Well, hey, Brendan, Adam, appreciate you guys joining us. We had a lot of people in here today, pretty active in the chat and the Q&A. Really appreciate all of you guys, and we will see you guys next month. Those of you that maybe did not know about our classes, check those out. Those CompanyCam classes are super valuable for actually seeing the product in practice. So thank you all and have a wonderful Wednesday.
Okay. Bye.